What's up, everyone? I'm here. This is episode four of this podcast that I still have not come up with a name for, but that's okay. Today I got Sean on here as my guest. Sean, who I just actually connected with yesterday, late
Correct.
yesterday. So yeah, it's very exciting. Sean, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm sitting in a parking lot. I'm actually on my way to a meetup in Walnut Creek, California. So
Oh,
I left
nice.
I left this morning, and I was making really good time. So I was instead of doing this while I was driving, I was able to actually stop in a big parking lot and able to chat a little bit before I continue on my journey.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a concern of mine when you said that you were going to be driving when we scheduled for this. And I was like, dang, I don't even know if that's a great idea, but okay.
I've done it quite a
Um,
bit, so but
right.
this is safer, obviously, to sit and just chat. Obviously,
Yeah,
so
for sure. So you're from California,
I am born and raised.
born and raised. What part?
Well,
Like
I was
northern.
in the Central Valley of California. I currently live in the Central Coast of California, beautiful Central Coast
Okay.
wine country area. And I've lived out of state before. I lived in Vegas for a while, then I lived in Idaho for a while, and then I came back to California, got my degree, one of my degrees, and I came back, and then I continued to pursue additional graduate work and got degrees after that. So yeah, I mean, I'm doing
Nice.
actually what I went to school to do, which is
Right.
I am an
It's
IT
not
manager.
not everybody can say that.
No, no, but I've done it for a long time, and I'm ready to make definitely ready to make the transition. So
Nice. I like that. I like that.
yeah,
California, those are two completely different places, I would imagine. Never been to Idaho, but California, man, the food and the weather there are something else.
yeah, I would say that they're. I mean, we get 4 full seasons, and it's a massive state, almost 40 million people who live here. I mean, sometimes people talk about making changes in their state, or they'll say, "Well, Canada can do that." Well, Canada only has 28 million people in the entire country. We have more people in our state than they have in the whole country of Canada.
I
So
just,
sometimes
yeah,
it is daunting to make some of these massive changes in our state.
I hear you. Okay, so you're a sub-two student.
Correct.
When did you first realize that you wanted to get into real estate investment, and how did you discover the sub-two community?
I dabbled in real estate in the early 2000s for a very short time, and
Okay.
I was at the probably the right place, but at the wrong time, or maybe the wrong place at the right time. Not really sure. Just it didn't gel, and
Right.
so I picked back up in the W2 arena, back to what I was doing at the time, and I just continued with that, knowing in the back of my head I always wanted to have some rentals of some sort. I wanted to do something. I wanted that passive income. My friend's dad years had owned all these little rentals, and that was his retirement. And he wasn't
Right.
making a lot, but he owned all of them. He had like 10 of them, and they were cheap. And he would work on them himself. And he had a high school buddy that was a plumber, and he was a fix it guy, could fix just about anything. So they would both work together and keep these houses going, but he owned them all free and clear. So the little bit of rent he was charging at the time, 400, 500, 600 bucks a month, it wasn't a lot, but times the 10
Right.
helped bring in additional income. He still
Okay.
has though. I think he sold one, but that's all. He did it, and I was like, that's kind of cool to be able to have that. So I've
Right.
always kept that as a goal, and I just didn't know when to execute. And I was watching some stuff last year. I think early this year, and Pace was on one of the podcasts I was listening to, and it's like $300 million, 15 homes. I was like, 1,500 homes. I'm like, what? No money.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this thing? So I started to
Yeah.
dive deeper, and so I started peeling away the layers of that onion, and I was like, wow, this is really fascinating. I need to dive in. So I went into the Facebook community. I'm like, I need to get involved in this. This
Right.
is the way to get where I need to go. It's not easy money. It's going to be work, and I partner with people, figure stuff out. It's all good. There's going to be some good and bad along the way. And
Pace has
so
a
that,
way, yeah. Oh, sorry to interrupt, but Pace has a way. If you've never heard of Pace Morby, never seen him talk, or have never heard of creative finance, he will blow your mind with what comes out of his mouth. Just the man is a
absolutely.
genius, and just all the knowledge that he has on the creative side of financing real estate. I didn't even know existed. Like it was all brand new to me. I kind of understand why some real estate agents they think it might be illegal. They're a real estate agent and have never heard of it. But
Or
yeah,
they'll say it
Paces.
sounds a little bit like a scam. But the interesting thing, so I watch a lot of the home building shows, zombie house flipping, all these things, and of course Triple Digit Flip that he and Jamil are on. And I had watched that for quite a while, not putting two and two together. I didn't
Oh,
realize that on his show, because one of the things he says in his podcast is the show doesn't really want him to advertise the piece and all that stuff, then put the sign. So he kind of had to separate his personal world from the show. And I think that I haven't seen the show on in a while. I guess they still have it. It's not on.
I've actually
And
never even seen the show.
oh, it's an awesome show. So he and Jamil go out and they work with Jamil's sister. She's kind of the project manager,
Hmm.
and they go out and they just knock stuff out. They knock out these nasty homes and they get them up. They get them to where they're triple digits. If they're 103,000, 110, 120, whatever it is, they're going for the triple digits when they
Right.
do those fix and flips. And again, I just didn't realize. Oh, and I was looking back, and go, freaking that's Pace, that's Pace, that's the guy. But
Yeah.
because he had to separate it from what he does in sub two, that's why I
Hmm.
didn't make the connection. But no, it's a great show. I like those shows. I learn a lot just listening to how they deal with it, how they deal with contractors and subs and timelines and interest and hard money and all these things that we kind of deal with. A lot of these shows deal with the same thing. They just don't go into detail. They keep it very high level. They'll break it down. They'll say,
Right.
we bought the house for this. We did this many in repairs. Our hard money loan costs are this. And you
Yeah.
see, you're like, oh, hard money, whatever. No, now I realize, okay, how important it really is to have, and what Pace states when he talks about raising private capital makes complete sense now. Because I first heard that and I was like, what? I don't know how to raise money myself. That's why I go to work, because I
Yeah.
don't have this entrepreneurial mindset. I'm like, no, it's just connecting with people and getting that pool of money ready to go to make the investments.
Exactly.
So that
Networking is
all started
huge.
connecting.
100%. Pace preaches this. Jamil preaches this. Jamil, for those who don't know, is one of Pace Morby's best friends, and he has his own community too. He focuses mostly on just wholesaling, going direct to agent, but they both preach the importance of networking, and that's because you get around people that are doing the same thing as you, have more experience than you, can provide value to you as well, and just like you can in return provide value to them. So
Absolutely.
it's all important. And so you're juggling being in sub two while having a W-2.
Yep.
And what are you doing for your day job?
I'm an IT manager for a city.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been in I've been in government work since about 2006, but I've been in management for over 20 plus years, 22, 23 years of
Oh wow.
management. Yeah, I've been managing a long time. I have like I said, I went to school for that, and then I have a bachelor's degree in IT, and then I have three master's degrees in various things,
Wow.
technology and MBA, and then organizational management and leadership. So they all help pull together, and pretty much whatever I do in life, there's some aspect of what I've learned in school that I can apply, plus all the additional ongoing knowledge, podcasts you listen to and stuff. And I was going
Yeah.
to say that one of the biggest things getting into this is, we throw the word mindset around, as we talk about it all the time, mindset. It is unbelievably important to get one's mindset corrected and adjusted to dive into this. And
100%.
I do believe this is one reason why so many struggle, is because they don't have a proper mindset to have that open mind to handle real estate the way real estate needs to be handled. I didn't realize, and I was telling some people, I didn't realize how quote unquote broken I was when it came to my mindset. Being in IT, being in technology for so long, a lot of IT people, we have very much of a what if mindset. What if this breaks? What if this? We have to think about this. What if we go to the cloud? What about this? What about backups? I mean, just what if, contingency plans all the
Right.
time. That means we cannot get out of our own way half the time when it comes to clear thinking and going and transitioning into this. One can have a what if mindset. I was just talking to someone a few days ago about this, and she said, don't look at the what if mindset as a negative. Look at it as a blessing. Just don't dwell on it. Like, it's okay to kind of survey the landscape a little bit and say, okay, I see the
Uh-huh.
what if, and then put them aside. But know that that's a gift, that it's a vision to have that, to look at all those scenarios. But yeah, dwelling on it is what's going to bring us down. And we don't want that. We want to stay positive. We want to keep going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to keep
So
looking
I say,
forward.
just go from the what if to the what then, and get to what's next, or what next philosophy. What then? What then? What then? So,
I'm glad you brought up the mindset because mindset is so important in this, like you were just explaining. If your mindset's not right, you can have a very hard time believing in yourself that you can succeed in this business. Because there's so much to real estate investment. It's changing a lot. New strategies are coming up. Like I said, I have two mentors in Jamil and Pace. They both teach two completely different things. So, but at the same time, both communities are amazing. The people in there are incredible. But you see that some students are struggling with their mindset as well, and they preach that, and they it's a very uplifting community. So you want to lean on others too. You want to help others, and people are also willing to help. So it's all very full circle in there. But you have to I can't think of a book right off the back of my mind right now, but they've recommended some books too. I don't know if you know of any right off the back of your mind right now, but there's definitely different things that you can do to help with your mindset because it's going to be crucial going forward in this.
Yeah, I know I don't actually, I don't read a lot of books because I've done so much commuting over the years with a lot of my jobs. So I did a lot of audiobooks. I mean, I went through thousands of audiobooks, but to sit and read, especially with my eyes, I've always struggled with just sitting and just reading the book. The letters are very small, the small type, but being able to just listen, I can absorb things a lot better when I'm listening and driving. Like even driving where I am, I've been listening to podcasts the whole way up. And I listened to one of the Mindset Mentor. He's one of my favorites that I listen to. And he does these little 20-minute daily episodes on how to fix your mindset on anything from 5 steps to not being so lazy to negative thoughts and how to use those to your advantage. And like all these little snippets. And they're fantastic because they get into the head and then we start processing it. And he's made me think about a lot of things, even, opening my eyes to something I didn't think about, like this negative reinforcement thinking that he was talking about. I was like, wow, I've never thought of it in the way in which he presented it. It's like, yeah, we have negative thoughts, but how do we take those negative thoughts that we have in life? We're all going to have those. How do we take them and actually turn them to make them positive? How do we leverage that negativity into positivity? And so he dabbles on these just like little snippets of info. And I find that the podcast, especially the short episodes, to me they're easily digestible. I go to the gym, I pop them on, I listen to them, and I can get through 3 or 4 podcasts in a workout like I did yesterday, and it's great.
And which podcast is
the Mindset Mentor, Rob Dial. He's really great. I highly recommend Rob Dial's Mindset Mentor.
Rob Dial.
Dial. He is great. And there's a few others I listen to, but I like his because they're really short. Like I said, they're 20 minutes, and it's like an in and out. You just get in, he talks a little bit, and you're out. You don't feel like you're listening to some an hour podcast, because sometimes we have to stop and start those a lot. But 20 minutes, it's pretty easy to get through. I mean, most people can get in their car and go to work, and they can listen to a quick podcast for 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm gonna actually check him out later today.
Yeah, sure. I do. I think he's got over 3,000. He's been doing it for 8 years, so he's got, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 episodes. He's got a lot of episodes.
Nice.
And
it's incredible.
So many things. Yeah, definitely recommend it. So that's an easy way. Podcasting is just simple to just listen to stuff, and he doesn't have any videos or anything. It's just something you can just pop in and listen to, like you're at work or whatever, and just crank it out.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that sounds like an amazing way to start your day too. Getting ready for work. If you have a W-2, just listen to that real quick as you're getting ready. So,
yeah, and there's others that are out there. There's a lot of mindset. I was going through them for a while, listening to some different ones. Sometimes I didn't like the voice. It's like, the voice is too tinny, or it's just whatever. Or they had a guest on. I'm like, man, that guest just like trash. So I've gone through a lot, and you never know, and I narrowed down on his, and I was like, it's clear. He gets straight to the point. He's funny. He's just real. He talks about where his struggles were and where his struggles are now. He doesn't act like he's all high and mighty. He's like, yeah, I deal with the same struggles everyone else does. He goes, the difference is I've been working on those, and he says I've been able to break it down to know what I need to work on, and I think that's also key. And I was talking to one of my employees about that. And we were talking about mindset. He's like, what do you think, where my problems are? And I said, it's not for me to say where. He said, you have to peel away those layers yourself. You have to listen to the podcast. You have to examine within yourself what's going on. I can't just give you a bulleted list of things you need to fix. That's not for me to say. I have my own struggles. And I said, the thing is that as I work on something and I peel away a layer, I realized, wow, it was a little bit more involved than I thought it was. Yeah. And I was talking to someone actually earlier this week, come and bring that up. She is a mindset. We actually had a Zoom, and she's a mindset mentor. and she's got
Okay.
a series, she was fantastic. And so one of the things we were talking about was there's this vibration that, and I just go into a high level here. There's this
Okay.
vibration that apparently I'm giving off that I'm aware of some challenges, but she says we've got to tackle that particular vibration that I'm giving off. It's like a subliminal negative vibration. And
Mm.
I told her, I said, clearly I don't want that, but I said, I don't know how to attack that. And I'm actually, talking to her, being open, telling her I don't know what the issue is. I don't know where that little negative vibration is coming from in this sea of positivity that I'm pushing out. I've got this little subliminal one that just kind of pops up, and I don't know what triggers it. I don't know I don't know. And so uh, we're going to talk a little bit more, and she's going to help me extract maybe what's going on at that level, because that's what
Okay.
she specializes in. And see, I think one of the things we have to be as people, we have to be mature enough to know that we do need help, and we need to be able to talk to people, and it's okay. Just like when I tell people, it's like we go to the gym. We go to the gym to work our bodies, but also work our mind. But we also
Right.
need to have someone to help us work our mind, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Self-care is important. Mentally, physically, it's all very important. Um, the mindset stuff is so interesting because I haven't had
It is,
any other
isn't it?
guests. I haven't had any other guests so far, and it's not like I've had a lot either. This is episode 4, but we haven't really dug deep into that like this. So I really appreciate you just bringing all of that up and recommending Rob Dial as well.
Oh, it's
That's
fantastic. Yeah, no, I've been working on just the psychology of kind of getting into the minds of people for quite a few years, just on my own. I've done some conferences in the past. I talked about abdication, delegation as management. As a manager,
mm,
I had a room full of people. We talked about that. I was shaping some of their minds because there are a lot of new managers in the room. And I wasn't an expert in this, but what I felt confident enough to go into that room and discuss that. And I started tossing things out like, how when you're working with an employee, are you actually abdicating the responsibility to them, or are you delegating? And the room's sitting there, they go, we delegate. And I said, all right, I give you a scenario, and I'll give them a scenario. And I gave them this scenario,
uh,
and they looked at me and they're, oh my gosh, we're not delegating, we're abdicating. And I said, exactly right. You never want to do that, because all you're going to do is you're going to lose trust in your employee. They're going to lose their confidence in you if you just continue to dump stuff off on them and never follow up. They're going to lose that respect, and
mm,
we'll go on and on. And so, it's just getting in the psyches of what's going on with people is
right,
absolutely fascinating, to realize how vitally important it is to have that mindset shift and just focus, because it affects so much of what we do in our day-to-day lives.
right,
To have a positive outlook, to not try to give off those negative vibrations, because there are, they would say there are schools of thought, but there's some legitimacy to when we talk about wavelengths, and we talk about people giving off positive and negative wavelengths. There's our wavelengths, and I don't know if you've experienced this. Have you ever been around someone that exudes such a positive aura? It's so infectious that you've left the proximity of that person, and later you go, I have never been around someone that gave off such an aura of positivity.
mm.
Think about
I
that,
come-
because if you ever done that, or you ever been around someone. I've been around a few people, and I was like, wow. I felt like I was in the presence of greatness, just of someone that they just had this energy. Like, where did that energy come from? And how did it permeate into my body? How did I feel it? Wavelengths. There's no other way
right.
around it. I mean, we have radio waves, we have things that go through the air, and I don't want to get all conspiracy there, but there's just something about an aura that people give off. We talk about animals and pheromones and stuff, but I do believe there's an aura, and there's that wavelength, there's that frequency, and we align with frequencies of other people who are on that same wavelength. So if
That's
you're a
fascinating.
highly positive person, you're going to you're going to attract other positive people. If you're negative, you're going to attract negative. Let's say misery loves company. There's some truth
Yeah,
to that,
yeah.
because the wavelength attracts that in that frequency bandwidth.
I like to say that I'm a pretty positive person. I definitely have my bad days, my bad times, just like anybody else. I'm human, but at the same time, I know other people. Like when I'm around them, it's not going to take very long for me to tell if I want to be around them or not because of their energy that they're putting out. Because if I'm having a great day, everything's going well, my outlook on everything at the moment, whatever I'm going through, is a positive note. I don't want to be surrounded by somebody who's going to bring that down, who's going to completely change that for the worse. So there's something to what you're saying, and I'm gonna definitely do some research on the wavelength stuff. That's actually kind of
It's yeah,
fascinating.
I've listened to a couple other people who, a couple of people who are like, one was a doctor of homeopathy or homeopathy, I guess you say, and he's got a podcast and he was talking a lot about that, and I was just like, wow, the more you dive into it, the more you say this isn't some voodoo science. I mean, there's some legitimacy to this stuff because there is you really positive people just they bring this energy about them, and it's like
Right.
how does it come off? It's amazing, but it's really cool though to just start to study it, learn about it, and then realize how it affects us in our day-to-day lives. Because you know
Right.
uh, we talk about emotional intelligence and how we can identify someone just by reading them within maybe the first 10 seconds. If you're in a store, you see someone, you're in line, you kind of get a feel maybe of the aura of that person, and you can read by
Hmm.
their facial, because we say, what is it, something like 55% of language is the reaction of our body, all right, our the nonverbal communication.
Right.
55% of that is nonverbal, and that's huge. That is
Yeah.
absolutely massive. And I know that I've been on for years. I was asked to be on interview panels and to interview from various other places, cities or other places that would call us, hey, would you be on our panel? And if you've never been on an interview panel, as people walk in, it's very nerve wracking because you're on the side, you're on the empowerment side, and then you've got this single seat where the person has to come in and you have to interview them. I mean, places do this all the time, right? It's interviews.
Yeah.
And as soon as that person walks in, you pretty much get a feel for if you're going to want to work with them or not, if you're going to want to be around them, if you want to be in their proximity within seconds. Like, I
Right.
don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they talk. I don't like they're nasally or whatever. They don't respond well. Or one person, oh my gosh, one time, go off on a tangent here. We usually most of the time interviews start off with, tell us a little about yourself. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It just get started in the interview, just get a feel for them. I wish there were more interviews were more flowing, but a lot of times in government they're not. They're actually considered an oral exam. So
Mm.
especially in the initial panel, you have to be very structured. You can't really deviate. And then when you go into the next level of interviews, you have a little bit more discretion to deviate. But in any event, we had this one guy come in, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but it was just, he's like, tell us a little about yourself. And within about 2 minutes, I mean, this guy had been like divorced twice and is on a drug habit, and his mom is like, whoa, I want to know all that. So like, it's just his energy. He made the entire room. It's like, I think we need to call support for this guy. He is not doing good at all. But
Wow.
he just gave off that negative. It was crazy. And then the next person came in. You're like, okay, they can't be no. The person came in and just lightened up the day. It just, but that polar opposite within just a few seconds, just to have that person just take us down with them. And that's what we have to always just make sure we do our best to avoid that. Pace, they talk about this all the time. Your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
And look around the 5 people or so that you hang out with, and are you like them? Are you're going to be generally in their same fiscal bracket too.
Hmm.
That's a lot of truth to that. Most of the people we hang out with are probably in our general. I think about the friends I have. We're generally in a similar fiscal bracket. I mean, we do okay. We make decent money, but it's still, it doesn't. No, I don't hang out with millionaires. But if I
Yeah.
want to be a millionaire, I should be hanging out with millionaires.
Exactly. Yep. That talks a lot about that. Like you said, your network is your network. People that you're hanging out with, do they have the same goals as you? Are they trying to make more for themselves as we're all trying to? So there's so much truth to that. And honestly, it's things that I've never thought about. He puts these thoughts in my head and then he goes into details and he's a storyteller. So he gives examples and stuff. And I'm like, man, this guy is right. He's so right about this. So it's interesting. And speaking of Subtube, my God, I cannot wait till I join that community. I don't have the funds for it right now, but I'm gonna be in there sooner or later.
It's growing.
So
It's getting bigger. It's almost getting to the. I mean, we're 11,000 people, I think, in there now. I think when I got in, it was just a hair over 10, or right at 10. It was like right there.
11,000. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So in Sub2, there's a lot of different strategies in there, subject to seller financing, and I mean the list goes on, right? Is there a
Yep.
particular strategy that you're focusing on?
My strategy I'm going to focus on initially is going to be I'm going to get some fix and flips done. I want to get some of that capital coming in, and then my long-term strategy is definitely going to be buy and hold for multifamilies. I want to do
Mm,
multifamily, affordable housing, and at some point I like I like the idea of the density of the pad split concept, the pad split model as they continue to expand in other cities.
Yeah.
And we're starting to get some really good pad split specialists. But we talk about shiny object, and that's why I want to be real careful. Like I look at that and I
Right.
put that off a little bit, going, that's my long term. My long term is to dive into that.
Right.
I was initially, when I was in, I'm gonna do some wholesaling and do a little gator. I'm like, nope, I can't do all of that. Right now, he's got the zero down thing for business buying. I think that's
Hmm.
absolutely fantastic. I'm not ready for it. It's not my focus. So I listened to a part of the first one he had,
Hmm.
that first Zoom, and I'm like, okay, sounds awesome, but I have to hold off for right now. I
Right.
can't do that. So my focus is going to be initially fix and flips. One of the main reasons for doing that is I need to be challenged. I love being challenged. I love being pushed, and I want to do things that are extremely difficult. And as a pad split, they say, well, fix and flips aren't easy. Okay, bring it on. Because I do, I want that. I want to be
You
as
want the
challenged as
challenge.
possible. Because you
Yeah.
figure it's like if I go help someone move, first thing I go to their house, all right, what's the most difficult thing we got to get out of here? I want to get it done. I want to get out of the way. Because the harder we work now to get it out of the way, get over that hump, everything else is easier. And generally speaking, things are easier. If you get, you move the heaviest items out of the house. Well, what do you have left? Well, the items that aren't the heaviest
All the
anymore,
lighter
the lighter
stuff.
items, right? So it
Yep.
helps get that out of the way, because I don't want to be lifting. And I've done this before. I worked somewhere. I had to bring a piano down someone had a piano on their second floor.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So we had to get that thing down the stairs, and it was a bunch of big burly guys, and we were done at the end of that. It was horrible.
I
That was
believe
not a
it.
light piano. And
Yeah.
that was one of the later. I didn't realize that was going at the time. And it was someone else's move. I'm like, what? We're moving that? I would have moved that first off when I had the strength in the morning. Knocked it
Yeah.
off.
No kidding. Yeah.
So to me, fix and flips are a little bit like that. They're a little bit challenging. I deal with contractors and subs. All right, because it's going to make me better. And I think the way my mind works, I'm really good at project management. I'm good at dealing with people. I'm good at managing people. I'm good at handling multiple things. And we always say that there's the thing about multitasking, and there's no such thing as multitasking. We throw that word around, but in reality, all we're doing is we're doing different things. We have to stop, shift our focus, and then refocus on something else, which, depending on the task, can actually take our brain up to about 15 minutes to readjust, to refocus on that again. But nonetheless, I do that for work. I've done it. I manage multiple multi-million-dollar projects, so it's really easy for me to handle that. So for me,
Wow.
I don't see it. I think I've done some work before on a couple of flips in the past, and I didn't have a problem with it. I know people have had good and bad. I'm like, well, I think part of it is you got to surround yourself with the right people, and you got to just get the job done. You got to really be on people, and you can't just
100%.
let people go, and you can't just let them be on their own. You've got to keep an eye on them. But
Yeah.
you don't have to be in
Absolutely.
their face. You just have to keep them at arm's length, and that's the delegation versus abdication piece that I've always
Yeah.
talked about.
That makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
And I'm in Gator, and one of the things that Pace has provided us, or for those of us who chose to participate in it, is he brought in this company called Alpha Gator that does like lending, like hard money loan lendings for fix and flips and stuff like that. So a lot of his students in Gators have also become affiliate partners to Alpha Gator. So
Okay.
when we meet somebody who maybe is doing fix and flip or new construction or needs a DSCR loan, anything like that, we can provide them with a link that will take them to Alpha Gator to look at everything that they provide and see if they want to put in an application to get pre-approved if they're looking, for like a hard money loan for their whatever project they have going on. So just something to keep in mind when that time comes if you're
That's
in
the
need of that.
AlphaGator thing. I've seen it advertised. I didn't really dive into what it was. So AlphaGator is higher level lending from the standard
Yeah,
Gator lending,
it,
higher
it
millions
is,
of
but
dollar amount.
Alpha Gator is its own company though. Just
Okay.
that, yeah. Some of the students in Gators though, because Pace bridge that he made that connection there, to allow us to kind of partake a little bit in that. It's just to be able to have that like in our back pocket, like
Okay.
you go to real estate meetups and stuff, and you're talking to people, and somebody's like, "Oh, I need like $100,000 to finish my fix and flip or something." We
Hmm.
get to know them a little bit to make sure their credit's at least decent, because you're not going to get approved right for like $100,000 if you got like a 500 credit score.
Right.
But yeah, you can. We have an affiliate link that we can provide them, and that will take them straight to Alpha Gator.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, he's got the Sub2 fund for multifamily, which is a massive fund, I guess. I don't even know how that piece of it works because I'm not at multifamily at that point.
I've
But
heard of that. Yeah.
I know that that's available,
Yeah.
and so I think it's great to be able to provide the funds to continue to help people grow. The challenging thing would be to make it extremely difficult to get those funds. In other words, if the vetting process is going to be as challenging as going to a traditional bank, then it wouldn't make a lot, so I think there's got to be a way to provide the funds, not, someone says, I need money. Here's money. I mean, have a vetting process, but it needs to be like a mild vetting process. It can't be anything that's too demanding because
Right.
I mean, my credit, now I said my credit's decent, but it's not phenomenal. I've got some debt and I want to get rid of it. But because of that debt, even though my bills are paid, the debt and school loans and stuff, they bring the score down a little bit. I mean, it's not 850. It's not horrible,
Yeah.
but you have that and you go, okay, well, someone says, I want a 750 or 7. I don't have that, but I don't have bad credit. So
Right.
if it's too difficult to go out and do that, then it's like, then I need to find other alternatives. So as long as it's fairly easy to do something, as long
Yeah.
as
If I remember correctly, I think AlphaGator, they're looking at maybe like around at least 670 or 680,
mm,
somewhere in that range. So, you definitely don't need to have like excellent credit. Like,
mhm.
honestly, I don't know anybody right now that has an 800 credit score.
We all have
No,
stuff going
few
on,
in the
man.
sevens, but yeah.
Yeah, we've had the world go into a mess of the last few years, and it really kind of messed people up. And then there was a great resignation, and people were bouncing from their jobs. And you got 20-year-olds that go, "Oh, I don't like that job, so I'm not going to show up anymore." And then they just bail, and then these people bail, and those people bail. And I shouldn't rag on 20-year-olds, but it's a different generation from those from where I am, where you get a job and you pretty much stick with it for a long time. So
Yeah. The new generation's a complicated one, is what I like to say a lot. I don't understand
that's
a lot of the things they do, but
fantastic way to put it.
yeah.
I think those
Uh,
that are that young and they're getting into this right now, man, they've got the world's their oyster, man. It's fantastic to be 18 or 19 and cranking out some real estate because they're just going to secure their future so much better than we weren't able to do because we didn't have the mindset at the time to even think about this. I didn't think
100%.
about this at
Yeah.
18.
Yeah. There's some 18-year-olds right now in the programs who are just killing it. Incredible. Like, in Astro, there was a high school student who actually helped create the Astro Blaster software that
Yeah, I heard
Jamil
about
ended
that.
up partnering with. Yeah.
And he's
18-year-old who created that, making like 50,000 a month. It's just mind blowing to me, but yeah.
unbelievable. And here we
Yeah.
are, cranking it away. But we know that what we're doing right now is a means to get things done for the time being, but it's not our end goal. I mean, I'm to the point right now where I can put in my retirement paperwork next year to at least draw something. So that's kind of my goal, I think, is just to, I want to migrate off of it anyway, but I mean, I've been doing this for a long time and I need to get into something where I actually, in essence, I want to own my time. And I
Yeah.
say, we don't want all this money. I want to own my freaking time because someone else right now owns my time.
Mm.
And that, that it's so much of a time suck in a lot of ways, and we do that. We're W2s. I mean, so many people in this community are because we know where we want to get to. We just don't have the means to get to it yet. But as long as we're on the right path and we're connecting with the right people, we will achieve our goals. We will get there, and we'll continue to just keep shooting for the stars in this thing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Sean, this has been a pleasure, man. I wasn't sure what to expect in this conversation, but I've thoroughly enjoyed this, though.
Oh man, I have too. I'm glad. I enjoy talking about this stuff. I think anything from talking about money, but the mindset thing is so unbelievably fascinating because of eight plus billion people in this world, and and we all have such a different way of looking at things in life. And this is try to get into the psyches of why people do what they do, how they think, why they think, how they think, and all these different things. It's just we just scratch the surface of this all. There's our amazing human brains that
Right.
we have, and just knowing, like why people do why are people so violent? Why are people so good? Why do people want to bend
Hmm.
over backwards do this? Why do people want to go on journeys for their lives out in other countries to help the less fortunate? Why do people want to get billions of dollars? It's like all these people have different outlooks, and some people, money, they could care less about money. They want to go be a monk. They want to go live in some community somewhere, and they don't care. Other people are
Yeah,
like, oh, that's not for me. I want to do that. And it's like everything in between. We're an amazing species.
absolutely. I don't see how anybody could argue that right there. But the one line that you did say not that long ago, that you want to own your own time. I think I'm gonna like make something and hang that up, like just have that in big words, just as a reminder that I see it. Because I absolutely love that. Own your own time.
You have to, man. That's the only way to do it. We own our time. We can do everything else from that. And as people chat, they talk a lot. I've had discussions with people when we talk about, well, what do you want out of life? Can money buy happiness? And we say, well, can money buy happiness? Obviously, money can rent it and they can lease it. But really, the people that say money cannot buy it are the people that don't have the money, or they haven't given away enough. Right? We talk about Pace says you haven't given away enough money to see the happiness that other people can present. And being able to have our time that we own gives us that flexibility to do what we need to do. As we say, we want to be able to spend more time with our children, or we want to go on vacation. And you know what? You can do that and still do work. You can do that and still enjoy life and not have to do the daily grind. And I'm not saying that this isn't work. And I'll put in whatever time it takes. If someone says, I need to close on a Sunday night at midnight, hey, whatever you need, we'll get it done. That's fine, because it's my time. It's my time that I'm controlling, and I love that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Sean, this podcast is about to come to an end, but I want to know how can people reach you? Is Facebook, Instagram, or an email?
I'm in the sub too on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. It's just my name, Sean_Eisner. I'm out there. Easy to find me. I don't have a lot of posts. I do a lot of commenting in Facebook, and I've been adding more to it. I'd say it's funny, as an IT person, I've been fairly leery of social media, just because I know where it can go in the time, and a time suck of how it can be a time suck for some people. And so I've generally stayed at arm's length with it. I've never really had much. I've had a Facebook account for a while, and I just I didn't do anything with it. But obviously I've had to become more active. So definitely I'm there. Anyone can see me, reach me, and then I'm in Facebook all the time chattering. So
okay, love it. I'll definitely add that to the description there for anybody that's in the California market to
Sean_Eisner. Yep, and I'm heading and I'll be at my meetup here pretty soon once I head back out on the road.
All right, I love it. Sean, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for inviting me. I had a fantastic time. I'm glad we're able to have this back and forth. This is great, man. I just love talking about this stuff.
All right, thank you so much.
You got it. All right, take care.
You too. Bye.